So let's talk about obesity's pathway to cardiovascular disease and how GLP-1 medications are important in preventing them both. Now, we talked about obesity and adipose tissue and its correlation with inflammation. So when we're talking about obesity as it leads to cardiovascular disease, we talked about how adipose tissue hypertrophies, enlarges, and then creates inflammation. We also talked about how as obese people, we carry a lot of things like extra fatty acids, extra glycerides, and things of that nature, all leading to inflammation, which ultimately stresses out the heart. And let me tell you how. When it comes to cardio, obesity will ultimately change the structure and the function of the cardiovascular system. So how does it do that, Keisha? And immediately 4 things come to mind that I can simply tell you and put it into layman's terms where that you can understand it and not use so many medical terms. So first of all, abnormal fat accumulation around the heart. Just think about it. Fat accumulation around the heart. What will happen? Okay? And we'll discuss that. Number 2, remodeling of the heart. Keep in mind, your heart is a muscle. So imagine the tremendous work that it has to do when we are overweight to pump blood to and from the heart, especially when it involves fluid retention. That means we are overworking our heart, creating a environment where it is forcefully pumping fluid to and from the heart so that the body gets nourished. So what happens when you pump your muscles? They enlarge. So having extra fluid on the body, meaning fluid retention secondary to inflammation, secondary to obesity, will create a enlarged heart because we are overworking our hearts, making it do more work than it normally would do if we maintain a normal body weight. Number 3, I talked about extra fatty acids that we carry as obese people. When we have additional fatty acids, it induces hypertension. Hypertension induces abnormal stroke volumes as well as abnormal cardiac output. Okay, so it just becomes a snowball effect, starting with obesity, and then these are the things that are happening in your body because of the inflammation process. So the 4th thing that comes to mind to me are triglycerides. We all know that triglycerides are fats. So just imagine triglycerides being transported in circulation, making deposits along your blood vessels, okay? Making small deposits over time. Those small deposits over time then create plaque against your arteries, which then create hardness, which is called atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. Then those eventually turn into blockages that then create strokes, okay? So this is how being obese, being in that inflammatory process, having those additional fatty acids, glycerides, having water retention, all of these things play a tremendous part in creating cardiovascular disease. This is why GLP-1 medications are extremely important. A lot of clinical studies are showing that it is resolving cardiovascular disease. It is helping to resolve obesity, which in turn prevents what? Cardiovascular disease. So I hope that helped.